Hey everybody, just getting stuff a little ready. We're going to take a look at the new scaling system in DCUO, or the scaling system that they're trying to go ahead and get us a beta on. So I'm just making sure I have everything set up correctly. Alright. Okie doke. Alright, so we got ourselves a new beta event in the game. If we take a look here in the event tab, beta test. Okay. So, play a new scaling system where enemies adjust to your combat rating and compare it to the current system where your character is adjusted to the enemies. So, instead of you being brought down to the enemies, you were being, or they are being brought up to you instead. Saw that. So we have the current scaling town theater square, and then we have the new beta version of the town square theater, and then there's the unscaled, which is there is no scaling whatsoever. They're at their original CR, and whatever you are at, you can just absolutely just destroy them in this version. Obviously, this is a bonus, this bottom one right here. This will not be counted towards a test. You got to do these. So you have to complete the old version, which is this one, and then the new version, which is this one. So I'll do the old one first. Let's see how that works out, and I think I'll do this on DPS. Just so that we can see how that works out. I'll still do my Viltrumite guy. So we'll do this, but we'll make sure we do activate the appearance for this guy. Oh, I gotta wait a sec. Activate appearance. There we go. All right, so we'll do this guy. Or no, I need to do. I want to do the single target one, which is my Steppenwolf. Hey, how's it going, Harrison? You doing all right today? It is a very beautiful Tuesday morning. Had a crazy weekend with Mother's Day, but it was great. I worked basically the whole morning. I worked like a dog the whole morning, and then I was able to take mom out later on in the afternoon. So it worked out very nicely. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get right into this. This one we'll do old scaling first. Damage play. Okay. There we go. Hey, what's up, Kurt? Perk, how's it going? A lot of people are confused with this. So like I said, so this one you see in the corner of my screen, I don't know if you can see that or not, has me at 337, so it brings me down to their combat, and it also adjusts my stats as well. Like you can see, this is currently how it is. It increases my power and precision, but it also, brings down my stats. So it's given me some of my stats back a little bit, but not much, but it brings my overall stats down. So my might is obviously over 95,000. But, with my regular state, I think it's like about 1 million. So, yeah. So, I mean, this is the current way that we have it right now. So this is the how it is currently. Let's skip this. All right. Now, obviously, if I was running this, I'd probably run this as Elite, but I think this is just the regular version. Obviously, I'd be running Elite, and I'd probably be taking way more damage and have a little more difficulty to it. Because I'm just mopping these ads up like it's nobody's business. Is the Blue Lantern ring back? It sure is. You can buy it out as of right now, and I forget when it ends, but I think you have like another month before it ends. Basically, they changed it from being 4 weeks out to 84 days out, so almost 3 months out, I believe. Something like that. So they've given you much more time to do what you need to do. Wait for that. Yeah. There you go. And she's down for the count. So, okay. So we got half the progression right there. Grab my quick loot. And then we got to do the new version. How much to buy it out? I'm not sure, to be honest. You could probably look at one of my old videos or maybe one of Multiverses. I don't know how much it is buyout. I think it was like $50. $50 or 5,000 marketplace cash, I believe. I don't believe that has changed, but I'm not sure on that pricing. I would double check to see what it is in the past, but it just generally did not change. Yeah. So, to my understanding, it wasn't like there was a price drop or anything on it. Perk says, is there an elite version of the beta system? Let me see if there is or not. That is a very good question. So, no. They just have, like, new scaling, unscaled. So, for the beta version, they don't have an elite version of it. Let's do this. Combat test scaling. No, so it's just current, new scaling, and unscaled. So it doesn't have the elite version for it, perk. Yeah, because to be honest, that's probably what I would test, would be the elite version versus like the new like scaling for the elite version. That's what I would probably do. But I went right through the menu and queued up, so that just goes like, it just goes to show, like, even here it doesn't give you an option to like change it to like elite scaling or not, because this one, see, this doesn't even give you like the little bar up above that shows that. And like in the custom queuing, it doesn't have it either. So here we go. Here's a new scaling. Here's a new proposed scaling where you keep all your stats, you keep your CR. So let's look here, because like my might was lowered, like my CR was lowered to 3. Let me see, is this correct? No, this isn't correct. Return to last location. I think I queued up the wrong one. Because my CR was at 337. I'm going to do through the menu. Was 337. And, so there. Okay, so let's do this one. Okay. So I should be going in as 517. And if I don't go in as 517, then obviously it's a bug, and I should have my full stats and everything. Oh, 514. Okay, my DPS is a little lower than my tank. So 514, here we are, 514, and my might was only 95,000 when I was clamped down. My might is the 816,000. So there you go. Much better. But they're all being scaled up to me now. Yeah, I forgot. It's only like 800 and something, but when I max everything out, it's like a million with like the scaling there. Don't know why I did that. It's fine. I mean, it feels easier. But I mean, when you're just outright slaughtering everything, I mean, I don't know if it feels any different. Feels about the same to me, or a little easier. Alright. There we go. Yeah, that felt a little easier, where they seem to have a little more bite with the last time. Yeah. Yeah, that seems a little easier. Because a lot of people think like bringing them up to our CR would make it harder on the character, but actually, I feel like your more individual stats break through. And so the stat piercing is like way better because it's actually like you and your actual stats that matter. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, it feels a little bit easier. I mean, I had somebody message me a little earlier, one of my friends, and they said that it felt about the same to them. So I mean, does it make it that much easier? I don't think so. I don't think there's a major difference, but I do feel like it's a little easier. We'll collect that. I like those. And then we've got, so that brings that event to, here we go. So we got the beta event. So you get 15 flawless nth metal. Oh, and it says you will receive all of the following awards. So you get the flawless nth metal, you'll get the battery remnants, you'll get 3 of those, and then you'll get 1 of the rage plasma. There we go. Look at that. And just for the fun of it, we're gonna do this. Oh, that's right. I gotta get out of here. I was looking to see if it was actually gonna queue me up or not. Yeah, like in Elite Plus raids and stuff like that, I think you'll definitely notice. But this is just for the solos. But I'm pretty sure after the solos. Oh, look at this. Thank you for Oh, so this is a survey, by the way. This is a survey. Thank you for participating in the Combat Scaling Test 2016-5. Complete a brief survey on at least one character to unlock a once per account reward. Would you like to take the survey on this character? Yes. Which role did you complete the scaling beta version? I did on damage because I feel like it would show up more on damage and whether they were like it hit harder or not. I did not enjoy. You could do. I did not enjoy it at all. I did not enjoy it much. I enjoyed it a bit. I enjoyed it a lot. I'd say I enjoyed it a bit. I don't think that the change was like enormously big to say it was like a lot, but I think I enjoyed it a bit. Did the overall difficulty to the new scaling version? I didn't think it felt too difficult. I didn't say it was too easy. I felt like a lot of my stats and things kind of mattered more, and it felt a little easier. So I would like to think that that's a lot of my stats being at play. So I don't want to say it's too easy, because then I think that would invalidate all your work that you put into your character. So I think I'd pick appropriate. Because I think if you said it was too easy, then it's like you're already taking a stand against your own stats, which were making it easier for you in that content. Which that is, like, if you're in higher content, you want your stats to equal more. In the new scaling beta version, how clear was it that enemies were scaled to your level? Well, with like everything that was put down on, like, in the announcements and everything, I thought it was pretty clear, but in game I didn't even really notice, to be honest. I guess I'll say like mostly clear, or I could do like, I wouldn't say somewhat unclear, I would just do mostly clear, because I knew about it from like the whole testing thing, but maybe they need a little more messaging on that. How powerful did your character feel in the new scaling beta version? Slightly, I would say, how powerful did your character feel? I could say as expected or slightly stronger. I wouldn't say stronger than expected, because like I knew they were going to be stronger. I don't know. I think I'll do as expected. I think that's fair. What I expected for, you know, like my stats and things to kind of shine through a little more with that. And most enjoyable to play, I would say the beta. I mean, they were pretty much on the same. It's just that the beta was slightly easier, and I think that's just your superior stats shining through. And I think that's something that you really want to think of when you're talking about elites and all that. That you don't get scaled down, and like I feel like you shouldn't be nerfed for your progress. So I think this is like a vote in the right direction. So I'm not thinking just about the solo, but I'm thinking about the aspect of what this could do for your character and allow your character to keep their stats, especially in the hardest content. I want my stats and the work that I've put into my character to matter the most in the hardest of the hard content. And I don't think that allowing your stats to get nerfed to an abysmal level should be what you should be striving for. Let me catch up on here. Harrison says it looks easier. Yeah, it definitely looks easier, but easy doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that maybe they can up the difficulty on some content, but I feel like that's my hard work and stats and the effort that I've put into my character finally breaking through and into fruition. So yeah, it says, why are they doing this test? I think they're going to do a solo test, and they'll probably do duo tests, they'll probably do alert tests, and then they'll probably do raid tests. So I think that this is the first of a few tests that they're going to do. So they're starting off small, they're doing solos, and I think they felt like this was probably one of the solos that would be the clearest in them in figuring out what would be better. Like it's much more clear with them with one of the newer solos than like maybe a old one, right? So they would probably get much better data from this. That's probably my guess, not something that they've actually said, but that's what I'd be guessing. But from what it sounds like, that they're starting off with solos and they'll go up to larger group content as time goes along. It's just that they could probably get a larger batch of data because everybody can do solos immediately off the bat without needing a group or anything. So yeah. So it says, which version felt the most fair in terms of difficulty? I would say beta, because I know that my stats are working for me. I don't think that determining whether or not your stats should come into play in term to make difficulty a thing should be a thing. I feel like your stats and all that should be left alone. The difficulty of the content should be independent on its own, no matter what your stats are. That's what I feel like. So I don't think that readjusting or capping our stats in any way should be the way that we make the difficulty for content. I feel like the difficulty for content should be independent of what your stats look like. Hi Iconic, I tried it, it's so much better. I hope they keep it permanent. I'm glad you really liked it. I saw it as being marginally better, but for people that don't have as high amount of stats, it'll probably make their stats even worth more, because then what little stats they do have, it'll make it like they'll benefit from it more than being capped like everyone else, basically, right? That's gonna be more valuable for you. How much did you enjoy the unscaled version? Well, obviously I wouldn't get the survey if I did not play. I did not enjoy it at all. I did not enjoy it much. I enjoyed it a bit. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it a bit. But and when I'm answering all this is personally what I think. This isn't what everybody else thinks. This isn't as a whole game group. This is what I feel personally. Yeah, so let me see here. What would motivate you to play the unscaled versions of older content? What would most motivate you to play the unscaled version? Oh, the unscaled version. I enjoyed it a bit. I didn't even play the unscaled version. I need to pay attention to this a little more. Okay, for me, feeling powerful. To be honest, that's me. That's me. That's why I solo stuff even when it's clamped, because I want to feel powerful. I want to know that I can do that. How likely are you to replay unscaled versions of highly, very? Do they don't have a highly likely. I'll do very likely. So this is them saying, this is something that we want to add in. Do you see yourself playing this enough to, make it worth it for us to do this? And I want to 100% support that. When stat clamping came out, or when they were trying to have it come out back in the day, I was 100% against it. I led the rally against it, and we stopped it. It was 47, a game update 47. We stopped it, and then it was like 5 or 6 years later, they got enough people that were pro stat clamp to let it go through, and I wasn't very happy about it, and I thought they should have made it to where there was an unclamped version. There should have been an unclamped version. So I'm glad to see that they're finally adding this into the game, because I didn't care for the idea that there was no optional. It was you either have to go all in with the stat clamp or not at all, and not play the content at all, and I didn't like that. I thought that was a major mistake, and I think this is kind of like a goodwill gesture of them, at least with the unscaled content, to try to remedy that and to allow players to be able to have that pre-stat clamp experience where you can go into content unclamped and do whatever you want. So I really like that. Let me see. Open granted item. Survey rewards. Here we go. Only once per account can you get this one. So the nth metal, the catalyst, and then the catalyst, the omnipotent item food, basically the XP, and the catalyst. I'm believing that those are all per character. And then this is once per account. This that they give you through the grants. So let's open it up. So you get 9 stabilizer fragments, 20 source marks. So that's once per account, but all the other rewards, I'm guessing, are per character. You can get those per character. So go ahead and now, if you want to, you can test on other characters as well. I'm not really going to do that, at least not on here, not live. But you can go ahead and do that if you want. Get that XP free nth metal. Go ahead and get that. You get 15 per character. from what it looks like, and then you get the 3 rage batteries, and then you get the 1 plasma, the 1 rage plasma. Like, per character, that stacks up. If you're trying to still level up your omnipotence items, that's a way to get some stuff. Red Knight says, "Oh, does the stat clamp event are live?" Is the stat clamp event live? Yes, it is. It sure is. Yeah. Yep. The new scaling beta test for it is live. And to be honest, I did not see this coming. I knew about that they wanted to do a scaling system. That's all I'm going to say, is I know that they wanted to do this. I didn't know that they were going to make it something where people could test on live and do that. So I really thought that that was a nice, I think that was a really good way of not only being transparent, but also getting the community involved with testing a major change in the game. They're kind of like, hey, you're in the game, you're invested in the game, you know, you play the game, this is your game. You should be privy to the testing that is going to impact you at some way or in some way or another. So you should have a say in it. You should be able to do a survey. You should be able to have your voice heard on this. That's to me that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do the unscaled version just to see how crazy that would be. And then we'll go ahead and start doing bounties. I'm going to do a bounty run. Psychos just says, just switch characters. Looking at the event tab, there's no reward listed anymore. Both challenges ticked. Okay, so it does not give you those. So those rewards that we got. Thank you, Psychotech, for letting me know that. So the items that were down here, they are not per character. It was only once per account. So yeah. So the nth metal, the omnipotent item food, and the catalyst, they are only once per account from what Psychotech's saying. So that's me correcting myself. Just so that we're on the same thing here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and queue up the unscaled version. Here we go. I'm just going to queue this up, and then we'll do bounties. Because I am kind of curious. Now, this is going to be ridiculous. These are going to die super quick. Yeah, it's going to be insane. Like, this is going to be a fast run. Psychotech says, I'm glad console players aren't left in the dust with testing things for once. Yeah, I think this also, in a lot of testing scenarios, more data is better. More testing is better. More data is better. You always want a bigger sample size. You don't want to have. You don't want to have, you know, a little bit of data and think that that's, you know, oh, well, this is the full picture, and it often doesn't give you the full picture. The more data you have, you can get a much more fuller, richer picture of what's going on, what people think, what the general experience is. It's just smart to think that way and to try to get as much as you can. So, So I think this was kind of smart that they went about this way. This is the first testing initiative we've ever really gotten in the game, like on a live server. So it's definitely another, I don't know, maybe another chapter in the game's, you know, in the game's history, so to say, where you know, now we actually have actual like testing initiatives on the actual server, on the actual live server. So you know, and then it kind of gets people to the idea like, hey, this is coming up, this is coming around, this is something you can look forward to. For me, the unscaled is what I'm definitely looking at and I'm happy about. Because let me tell you something, there are some raids that I used to be able to solo back in the day. I can't solo anymore. kind of like Brainiac Subconstruct. I wasn't able to solo that anymore because so I'm able to solo like 95% of that raid. The last part that I am not able to solo is the last boss. So I burn his first form down, and then it's his second form that I have a problem with. Is that like he goes around the room and all that, so it takes a little while to burn him down. I'm fine with that. That's easy. That's fine. But then there are these there's these energy servitors that come out, and they do a perpetual stun. They do a perpetual stun on you, and they do not they stop for like a slight second, and they have a ton of health. So they're there just completely like they're stunning you. Like one comes out and it's like every 30 seconds another one comes out, but it's like the one will come out, stun you, and then you try to pop a berserk or something to quickly burn them down once they stop stunning you for like 5 seconds, and then they'll stun you again. So in that 5 seconds you have to try to burn them down. And that's not even you burning the boss. And so then you burn them down, and then another one comes out. And then if you don't burn that first one down within 30 seconds, it doesn't matter. Every 30 seconds, another one will come out. So you'll have 4 or 5 of them, and they overlap. When the one stops, the other one's already stunning you. So they all overlap, and they're all just continuously stunning you and damaging you to the point that you're just standing there the whole time being stunned. Where back in the day, you could one-shot them, and they were no problem. You'd maybe get stunned for 20 seconds, you go boom, one-shot them, and it was done, and you finish the boss. So now, at how it is currently, you can't solo it. But with an unscaled version, you'd be able to solo that again. So, so for me, being able to see that an unscaled version would come back, that'd be great, because then I can go in there like the old days and go ahead and solo that again. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Oni Fury says you're literally one-shotting everything. Oni Fury, that was the unscaled version. That's where nothing's being brought up, nothing's being lowered, nothing. Yeah, the current, like if you look earlier on in the stream, the new scaling version is slightly better than the current scaling that we have in the game. Like to me, it is a little easier. But what you saw was the unscaled, where there's literally no scaling, no clamping, no nothing. It's just, it's kind of like back in the day when there was no stat clamp. Yeah, unscaled rewards your hard work. Yeah, but the new scaling version, I believe, goes ahead and rewards your work as well. Because at least, yeah, they're being scaled up to you, the enemies, but at least they're not, at least they're not going ahead and, at least it's not going ahead and taking your stats down. I just realized I'm not in my battle tank stance. I'll see how far I can go with this. Let me bring out my henchies. Alright, I'm gonna switch to battle tank before I get myself killed. Drop my orbital. There we go. Get Constantine out here. So I'm here at the Deluge for Starro if you need the marks, the source marks. And everybody needs source marks. Everybody needs them. Even if you've got 8,000 source marks, 9,000 source marks, you still need more source marks. You can never get enough. Yeah, there's so many people that I know that are looking forward to the unscaled version, because then they're gonna go into like Elite Plus and get their feats, and it won't be as you know, it won't be as much, right? And it's not even that they couldn't do it. It just takes time. It just takes time that people just don't have. I mean, I'll probably be in there with them on some of them, right? But for me, I just like going into content to feel powerful. But does it mean that I wouldn't be going in to go get some feats? 100% I'd be going in there for some feats, you know? Like, if somebody's like, hey, we're doing Unscaled, do you want to come along? Like, yeah, that's fine, I'll do it. Yeah, so, you know, don't matter to me none. Alright. Let me see, I'll look at questions there in a second. Just a lot of CCing from these guys. Okay, alright, let me look here. Do you think they will bring the new scaling for old maps? Yeah, that's what I fully expect. Yeah, that's what I think. If you're talking about open world, I don't know. I don't think they'll do that for open world. I think if you mean maps for like old content, yes. For old maps, I think they're gonna do the new scaling to that, so it'll be a little easier. Red Knight says, I hope they bring back those stat clamp to all, I hope they will bring those stat clamp to all the world one days. If you're talking about the new scaling, they probably will bring it to all the different, like, servers, if that's what you mean. Yeah. This guy's a little lower, we'll do him here. Alright, so that one's done. And we do the Starro tests. yeah, Batsoops. All is ours. Alright. Psycho says, trying to help friends get things like Steak Well Done and Background Libre will be less hideous with the unscaled version. Yeah, that, like, almost everybody that I know, like, I'm the outlier. A lot of people are probably going to say, because from what I've been talking to quite a few people, and a lot of them say they would do it for feats. They go and do the unscaled version for feats. And for me, I'm an outlier. I'm like, dude, I'll just do it because I feel powerful, you know? But for a lot of people, they're just like, yo, there's a lot of feats on the table that they can't do, or they just don't have the time for, you know. So for them, this would kind of be a no-brainer for them to go ahead and do the unscaled version. A lot of people are drooling at the idea of having an unscaled version to just go in there and get their feats. So, and I don't blame them. You know, that's a lot of stat points that are, you know, skill points, stat points that are on the table that you know, you don't have access to kind of currently at this point, you know what I mean? Or at least there's a high threshold to be able to do them. So, you know, so I've been telling quite a few people, I'm like, these, if they had the unscaled version, it's literally going to be like free skill points. It's going to definitely open up the skill point game and allow a lot more people to get skill points a lot easier. And kind of build up a lot of that player base has probably been here for a while, but hasn't been able to actively get those skill points for one reason or another, right? So that's how I kind of view it. So if I had to add like a percentage on how much easier I think that felt, I felt like it was probably like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15% easier. Like to try to quantify an easy, you know, like how easy it felt or how much easier. That's kind of like how it felt to me. Where like the unscaled version for that particular instance was like 50% easier, 60% easier. Like you could tell there's a massive difference in how it's scaled. Mr. Ground Pound over here. It's just a lot of the artifacts and things and abilities have made it so much stronger now. And having the two loadout bars, I think that dramatically increased how strong the community got. That, the Razor artifact, just in general, like it just made us so much more powerful. Let me try to get this guy with this orbital before it doesn't get that bonus damage. There we go. Like, this guy used to be pretty deadly if you didn't, like, lunge his lasers. Like, I don't even really, like, bother with that too much. You know, like, see, I kind of did that, but I didn't have to do that. I just did it because I didn't want to... Because I didn't like the pushback on it. But, like, he just did that, the one right there. I don't know, he auto-canceled that one. And it was usually the only time the laser was actually deadly was if you weren't able to lunge because you had all the ads around you that were, like, juggling you. But now it's like, he doesn't even come close to that. And the ground pound, you just move out of his radius. That's all you do. If you don't have like something like up, like Rage Crash, like I already have that up. See? So I had Rage Crash going, so I didn't need to move back. It was just literally healing me for everything. Put a shield up. There you go. I'm fine. Look at that. That blue lantern like knockback blast, like the group heal. Man, that just chops those ads up. What's up, Chosen? How's it going? I'm glad to hear that you like the new system there. Yeah, I like the new system. I think it worked out pretty good. I like my stats to matter, especially after having 1,000 SP. I like all my stats to matter as much as I possibly can. I want my character to be as strong and as ruthless as possible. I don't want to be clamped down. I don't want any of that. MPV says, is there any way you can get the old iconics like the Shadow one and the Lava one? Currently, at this point, no. But Volterra did say on the Discord that they are already setting up a framework to to like make events to make the old iconics available. So they are working on that. No newer word on that on anything coming out. So that's the last thing that we heard about on that. So we'll just have to go ahead and wait and see. But there is something in the works for those. Red Knight says, well, the devs are still working on that event for the old iconic power. Gusty says, do you think the new episode will launch in June, Children of Krypton? I think that they did say that it was going to launch in June when they announced Children of Krypton. Yeah, I think they did say it was going to launch in June, if I'm not mistaken. It's whatever they put in the article. I think they said it was in June. Yeah. So I think that'd be fair to say that it's probably going to launch in June, right? It's just a matter of when in June, right? Probably in June, same as the new time capsule. I don't think that they've announced when the time capsule's going to come in. It may come in June. But yeah, they haven't announced that yet. So I wouldn't take that as the holy word until it is announced, right? Yeah, can't wait. Supergirl versus Crib. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool. It'll still have some Lantern undertones, I assume, but it'll also have, you know, Kryptonians and maybe some Atlanteans, right? Curb says, do you think there's an iconic power creep happening in DCUO? I feel at this rate, in-game players are going to have 2 trades of exclusively event/campaign powers. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's a good chance of that. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like some iconic powers are great for some powers, and they're not for other powers. So I don't think that'll be the entire story. But I think that iconic powers are generally, for the most part, getting more powerful over time. But I think you're also going to have iconic powers that are going to cancel out others that are weaker that came out earlier. Like, you know, like you had people that, I don't know, you had like Spore Pod. People still use Spore Pod, but a lot of people are using the lava one because of how it interacts with the Black Lantern artifact, Purified Pages of the Black, and the Razor artifact. So so it's the qualities of the different iconic abilities that may end up actually taking other ones out of the fight, basically. So while we have new ones coming out, you also have new ones that are replacing old ones. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have two full loadouts of just iconic abilities. I think you'll have plenty that'll replace other ones. Because I think, like, does that mean that I'm going to replace my Rage Crash and my Berserk out to throw in another power to? No, not in my situation. So I think you're just going to have better iconic abilities that are going to replace old ones that aren't as good. Alright. I'm going to swim over here to this other bounty, and then I'll look at chat over here. Because I can kind of take a quick look when I'm kind of in the middle of it, which is funny. Alright, drop orbital. That pets will kind of... Alright. That. Okay, nice. Alright, it says, well, Multiverse says that the time capsule dropped after Resurgence. Yeah, but he doesn't have official information. I don't have official information. So, you know, just like a multiverse said that Constantine was being changed. Have you seen Constantine being changed? I haven't seen a change with Constantine. So I like multiverse, but at the same time, he's trying to announce things that aren't officially announced. So it's like, you're kind of messing in a gray area, and you're giving people information that isn't necessarily like announced or true. I used to remember the days when he would go ahead and announce when things were like actually like official. Um, so I don't know. I wouldn't take that as as a given truth right there. And until they announce it, I'm not going to go ahead and say whether or not it is, whether what date it is. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know what date it is. So that's, you could say it's a guess. Like, there's plenty of times they'll say like, I'm guessing it'll probably be this date or whatever. But to say, oh, it's going to drop on that day, like I know it's going to drop on that day, I don't think that's right. Yeah, the pizza iconic. NPV says, you and Superman, the other DCUO content creators, are the inspiration for my videos. I upload to solo bounties and create my own series by watching you for a while. Harrison says, I can't wait to see the new episode of New Styles. Yeah, Evil Crib. Yeah. Yep. Evil Crib indeed. But yeah, so that's why I like to, I may not agree with every decision from the devs, and there are quite a few that I didn't agree with, especially back in the day. But I'm also not going to go ahead and throw myself out there and say something that's not true or hasn't been announced. I can make plenty of guesses on my own. That's fine. You say it's a guess, you preface it with a guess. That's fine. That's cool. But when you start to talk as if it's official, or you say that it's official and it hasn't been announced, well then, like, what are you doing? Because then there's definitely things that you have to walk back, because you have people that watch you now. You have to walk back those statements when they're not true. And there's plenty of times where I've gotten ahead of myself where I said, like maybe once or twice where I did say like, oh, we're probably going to see that, right? And then I look and I'm like, no, we're not going to get that. Or I was just wrong on some information on something, and somebody in chat corrected me. Well, okay, yeah, I was wrong. Like I wasn't right about that. So I think you got to be careful with those sort of things and kind of give it the respect due and kind of be like, oh, okay, we don't know for sure, but if I've been around for a while, so here's a good guess, right? You could be wrong with guesses. You can't be wrong with official information. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, Red Knight says, yeah, well, I haven't seen Constantine seen a change as well. Yeah, I haven't seen a Constantine change. So I think it's kind of reckless to try to put out things like that and say, hey, this is going to change, when there's no actual change that came up. So, I mean, I like Multiverse, but I think he does tend to get ahead of himself with stuff like that. It says, hey, what arts do you have on now? Okay, so for my battle tank build, I use different builds. I use Tornado, I use Razor's Power Battery, Ebon, Gemini, and Soul the Scrap Cloak. That's what I use. This build prioritizes, obviously Razor, but it also prioritizes Supercharge. Berserk is a very good supercharge for Rage, and I want to have it as many times as I possibly can. And so that means that doing whatever I need to get Berserk back as quickly as possible is my main goal for this build. So that's very important to me. And So that's why I prioritize artifacts that are big on making sure that I get Berserk back quickly. And the allies I'm using, if you're curious as well, are Constantine, Flash, and Mr. Freeze. I like the dynamic of the Blue Lantern ability. It heals you. It does relatively good damage, and it does a nasty knockback to most enemies. And then you draw them in after like 2 seconds when you use the lava ability. So there's a lot of push and pull on this. So every time I pop a green, and that's me using Berserk. Alright, bring out this guy, this guy, this guy. Look at that. That used to be deadly back in the day. Now it's nothing to us. The whole, like, sword thing that he would do. Where he'd, you know, like, stun you. That doesn't hurt a bit now. It's baby damage. And that knockback that he does usually goes ahead and wipes your buffs away. But I just put a Berserk right over that and it disables that. So I can be as close as I want and it doesn't matter. And just Razor finishes them off like nothing. Yeah, you're very welcome, MVP. Alright, so now I just gotta find the big guy. They've probably already spawned him, if I'm correct. Or they've probably already taken him out at this point, maybe. No, they haven't. Wow, I'm actually surprised. I really like the White Lantern single target. It just, not only does it keep the boss's attention on you, but it also just is so ridiculously strong. It's insane. Pull him in, Berserk, Shadow ability, and then White Lantern. Look at how much damage that guy did. It was insane. Yeah, Razor's gonna end up just taking this guy out. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think because the White Lantern ability, I think that's an ambush. The shadow ability, I believe that's also an ambush. And then you got Razor. Yeah, let me look here. I think the White Lantern ones, yeah, it's an ambush. So it does more on them when they're over a certain threshold. But man, they just hit so hard. Get my pet out. Look at Razor just chunk him. Clip him with the shield. Yeah, this guy used to have a lot of health back in the day. I mean, he still technically does, but you go through it so much quicker now. The only problem is like those grounding abilities can cancel your like channel abilities. That's the only problem. I'll see that sometimes. And they'll usually do that if you're like in a movement mode, like I technically am. So they'll do that every so often if they like that right there. So sometimes it's just better to be out of movement mode so that they don't do that. That's another little tip there that maybe some people don't know. Like I know that the Paradox Demons in Flashpoint also do that. A lot of them, which can mess up your rotations. Venom's here. I don't know if you remember. The name Nader sounds a little familiar. All right, let me get those bounty credits here. Just gonna warp to the House of Legends again. Yeah, when I filmed that short for this Viltrumite style, I was like, man, what would be the best background for Viltrumite? And I'm like, oh, that's easy. That's 31st century Metropolis. The buildings look a lot like the buildings you'd find on Viltrum because they're futuristic. So I was like, well, I gotta go ahead and make the video out there. That's kind of a no-brainer. This is one of the bounties a lot of people have trouble with. It's because they don't understand the mechanics to it. If you take out any of the orbs, it just spawns ads. I mean, the ads don't really hit very hard. They don't have a lot of health, but you'll still have to deal with them. But he always teleports back at 25% health, or every 25% of his health. So that beam right there is a hard single taunt. But it's a hard taunt, so it'll get the boss over. And he messes with allies. Like he'll do like a stun, and like Constantine will just stand there after that. Oh, Constantine actually got the circle up. Okay, nice. Look, so another, I don't know, another 10%. Alright, there you go. He's gonna jump back, drop orbs. I do that little single turret. Oh, see? They're gonna die. Let me kill him so that, oh, they took him out anyway. See, all the ads came out. Yeah, he was close by the orb. Those orbs will debuff you, and they'll just straight up take you out. They like knock all your values down, all your, you know, your stat values, and they'll just take you out. You want to be on the outside perimeter. That's the way to do it. The orbs are just trouble in general. So he's going back. No, you don't want to do that, guys. There, okay. I got a green orb that's trying to follow me. trying to back up so that green orb's not going to get me. Or wait, is it already gone? Yeah, I think it's already gone. They're proximity based. There. If you kill the orbs quick, they can't target your team members and they won't, you know. I think they just like knock down your defense and then finish you off. He's gonna come for me automatically. Yeah, if he goes too far out of bounds, he'll walk back. Hit him with that white lantern beam. He'll come over to me immediately. Get some ads out. Razor for the win. Alright, very nice. I'll double back for that terminal. We'll get the we'll see which Teen Titan's here right now. Okay, so we got Red Robin. Man, he's moving around. Man, he's getting ganged up on. All right, we can warp rally. Alright. Thanagar. So I think I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to go over to the next map and then I'll double back. We'll double back. Because that'll be like a couple minutes before that one's up. Whoops. There you go. Bop Metropolis. Easy peasy. All right. Try to get him to the halfway point. Look at that, perfect. It worked out perfect. Razor went ahead. I made sure I stood right where in the general area of where they would all come up when he got the half health. And then Razor just one-shotted everything. Beautiful. Alright, let's go back to the previous map. It should be up by now. It should be Onmar Sin. That should be up. Denegar, here we come. Here There we go. Ground begins to rumble as nth metal fuses together. Look at that. Came up just in the nick of time. There he is. He's down for the count. Man, that worked out great. Alright, so now we're in Tier 6. Every time, like, I hear the quest givers and they're like, if it was truly him and not a shadow of him, he would have overpowered us. I'm like, I don't know about that. Probably not. I'm like, I'm sure we could take him. Alright, patch work the mascara. The only two that I'm usually able to get are the where you take out the bounties and you take out the crystals. When it comes to the Hydra, that's kind of a mixed bag whether or not that actually happens. Let's see if somebody's already up. Gates of Tartarus teleporter. That's probably the it's probably the Hydra, right? Yeah, I think so. Ooh, they're trying to fight him. Let me get my right augments on. Here we go. Let's go. He hasn't been burnt down at all. Yeah, no, that's a no-go. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, we're not gonna beat him. We only got 56 seconds. I mean, I'll give it a, I'll just, you know, whatever. But I don't think we're gonna win. If it had just started, then it would, you know, then it'd make more sense, right? But he's got a lot of health. Like, I think we could probably take him out in like 3 minutes, but not like only 50 seconds. Yeah, that's GG, that's over. Yep. Yep. I knew that wasn't gonna happen. If we had like 3 minutes, it'd probably work. Atlantean. Now this guy doesn't have much health at all, the Atlanteans. Alright, looks like we got both objectives, so very nice. Let's head back to the hub. We're gonna skip on to the next world. That should be 31st century. Alright, let's see here. Tier 6, 31st century New Earth. So the one's right here. Bounties, and then this one over here is for the signs. The signs and the antennas. Who's up right now? See a purple arrow. Oh, this is Cosmic Boy. We could burn him down quick. Defeated. Look at that. Defeated. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, he gets defeated very quickly. He's got like almost no health. So who's this right here? So we got ourselves a Blue Lantern Barry Allen, I believe. Yeah. My ring glows in the dark. I'm sure it does. Oh, we got a controller out here. I see her being debuffed. Or they maybe had one of the, maybe they had like Wonder Woman on, or what's his name? Or the Dark Metal Batman. Alright, so we just need 2 crystals. And then we're good to go on that. In that time, we're going to try to do some of those signs as I wait. We got a few over here. There's one right there. Oh, another one right here. Man, they pop up quick. me go to my spot. I'll swing back around. My favorite farming spot for these. Alright, better start going over there. So I don't miss out. There it is. Oh, I'm freaking huge. I just saw that. I'm like, what? He's down for the count. Alright, nice. Oh, Rhino head. That was a really old head style that they had in the marketplace years ago. And then I think I don't know the contracts or how long they were supposed to be in there expired quite a little bit ago, and so so I guess they went ahead and kind of put them in the game so that you can still get them this way, at least, just from them randomly dropping from the bounties in Legion. So it's good to see that, you know, because I don't, you know, for the most part, I don't like styles to go dead to where you can't really get them again in another, you know, in another form or whatnot. Like you know, I think they should be always, you know, you're always able to get them in some way or another. Especially when it comes to like those event styles. Like, I get it, the ones from like the event tab, they should come back in some way or another, right? Go ahead and claim this guy. Alright, gonna warp to House of Legends. Flashpoint, Gotham City. This is actually one of my favorite maps when it comes to the bounties. Because I like the Doomsday bounty, I like the General's bounties, and I like the Paradox Demons. So overall, it's a good one. I like this, and then I like Death Metal DC. I think like Doom DC is also pretty good. Oh, there. See, this version of him is that he's got a fire aura that does a lot of damage. But if you're a tank, you'll be fine for the most part. He's down for the count. Very nice. Matthew Barta says, I think Superman hair should come back. There's no point to having Rip Hunter up in the House of Legends. Did he? I don't know if the Superman hair came from him. I don't think it did. I know that the Rip Hunter like OP item, the Time Master or Time Hunter, also yeah, the Time Hunter style came from Rip Hunter in there. So those are the styles you can't get anymore. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Superman hair did not come from Rip Hunter. So the first two sets of sets of the Superman hair came from the survival mode vendors, and then the third version of the Superman hair came from the Superman bundle that they had a year or two back. Yeah, so Rip Hunter didn't have that. Yeah. I remember survival mode had 3 versions. It was the bearded, non-bearded, but it had like an ombre on the hair. And then they had the female version of the ombre with the hair. And then they finally did the Superman hair where it literally had no ombre. It was just Superman hair. And the ombre hair with no beard went for so much money after survival mode was gone. I bought so many of those hairs off that vendor, and I sold them for, when the economy was like still like had like a ton of money in it and there were billions just floating around. I was getting 250 million per hairstyle. Like, it was insane the sort of money I was getting from that. And it was just for the ombre Superman hair. That was the most popular, obviously, because it was the best Superman hair at that time. It wasn't like the other just single colored Superman hair that was in the bundle. But yeah, and it was because we didn't know when survival mode was going to come back. We still don't know if it will or won't come back. But because of that, I was able to make a lot of in-game cash on that. Just because. So yeah. So I know that those hairs specifically came from survival mode. That and like the Source Eyes and like the Zeus Source Crumble, not Crumble, the Source, the Zeus Source Chroma. Those were the big things from that vendor that you could trade, and you could make a lot of money off of them because of the uncertainty of survival mode. Look at that. Get out of that range, I don't have to do anything like that. It says, are the servers up yet with the new content? I wouldn't say new content, but they're doing a beta testing, and yes, it is up currently. Matthew Barter says, I see people on Xbox that sell stuff in the billions. To be honest, it's ridiculous. From what I understand, like, I don't know, it sounds like you're, and I've heard that from a few people, to be honest. It sounds like you guys are kind of jacked up on your economy over there, your player economy. Yeah, I doubt everybody on Xbox is a billionaire. Yeah, Riz, I don't think everybody on Xbox is a billionaire. I think it's just everything's kind of, I think just inflation over there is insane, that's all. Alright, he's down for the count, even he's on the ground sliding. Especially when it is easy obtainable item. Yeah. Yeah, it just sounds like people, I mean, and also people were doing that on the broker on the US side, but it wasn't because they thought they were going to actually sell those items. People use the broker as a bank as well. They'll just throw items up for like egregious amounts of money just so that they can have the item hold a spot on the broker, so that they don't have to use it in their bank, or don't have it sit in their inventory. No, I do not dabble in any other games, or at least not, no, like, other, like, PC games or anything like that. No, I mean, I do have, like, some phone games that I think are kind of cool. But, yeah, I don't have any other games that I usually play. So, fandom procedure, that, okay, alright. So I need to do this guy over here. Well, it looks like he's not up. I'm going to go ahead and do Barbatos first. Yeah. Come on down, big boy. Come on. There he goes. He's finally coming down. Yeah, I just play DC for the most part. Who knows, it may change in the future, but right now, I don't know. I've had a lot of time in this game, so this is the one I know best. I have been watching a lot of content for that, like that Invincible versus game. It actually looks pretty cool. I like how they add a lot of, like, they cover a lot of details, and they have a lot of the comic book like quips or like show quips in there with like the different interactions. So I think that's kind of cool. Especially with like Conquest, I thought that was funny. And they have kind of like Elseworld like stories kind of as well, like an alternate reality sort of a thing. It says no offense to the Iconics out, but Xbox people gatekeep the styles every time. I copy their styles, get them weird, but if it's OC characters, I would understand. Sorry, no, I'm reading comments over here, so I'm just getting beat on. I don't know. It can even be like that on the US side as well. So I don't think that's just something that's just Xbox alone. I've had plenty of people, like I've had people that have showcased their styles, that I've showcased their styles on the community shorts, and then somebody in the comments would be like, oh. Some of the people in the comments would be like, hey, what's that style, or what's the chroma that he used, or what's this, or what's that. They'd say, like, can you give me the whole, like, rundown of the style for them? And I did that. And then one person's like, can you take that comment down, or can you take me out of your short? I'm like, no. I was like, you were in a public area, like everybody was. And I showcased the best styles. And they're like, well, I don't want my style to get out. I don't want my style to get out. I don't want this to get out. You know, like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want people to know what I made with what styles. That's what makes me special, or something like that. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, no. I was like, no, that's silly. That's what a child would say. I'm not going to do that. I was like, I was like, no, I'm not doing this weird gatekeeping thing. Because you think that you own a style, or you own a certain look. Like, I looked at that and I was like, that's weird. That's silly. At the time I said that's silly. I'm not doing that. Yeah. And this was like one of the people at like Little Bohemia. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. It was like two different people, but this one probably was the most egregious. And I told them, like, no, I'm not doing that. They were very upset, but I'm like, no, nope. And it's like when it comes to my videos and stuff, I do style detail videos, and I'll even put the color codes in there and all that. A lot of people, when it comes down to their styles or they're very proud of it and this and that, they won't do that. Now, not talking about content creators, but I'm just talking about just in general. You'll have people that make styles or they hang around in the open world. They're very protective of things like that. Because, you know, I guess to them that's what makes them them. But I don't know. I think that's gatekeeping, and I think that's silly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So no. So I know that's what you were saying, but that's what I'm also saying. I'm saying that comparing to your experience, I have the same experience on the US side. So it's not anything that's very particular to Xbox. You're going to have that across the board with all the different servers. XBD says, even though you're in the Creator League, would you say the game needs a competitor? I think competition is always good. I think competition brings out the best in both companies. So I think competition in general has nothing to do with me being in the Creator League or not. Competition is always healthy, is always good, is always going to bring out the best in both competitors. It's going to want to make them, it's going to give them a better drive because they need to have a better drive to compete. So competition is always better. It keeps people honest, and it makes them work a little harder and do better, and it brings out the best in their content or their product or whatnot. So and it shows the flaws and makes them improve upon them. So I think competition is always better. So it doesn't matter whether I'm in the Creator League or not. Competition has always shown to be very healthy in making it also better for the customer in general. So that's how I feel about it. And HI says, where is the new iconic? Like you're talking about like the new iconic ability for like the time capsule? Do you mean that? Because I'm going to need a little more context with that. So, alright. I think there's a player or two that have already basically, well, they were trying to sell it, and they were in the Discord, and they were trying to sell it. I already know what it is. I actually have the ability. I have all 3 rewards, but I'm choosing not to release any of the information until it's either. I want it to be announced by the game before I do that. But I already know what it is. But I'd rather keep that information private until... because the thing is what I have right now may not be the final product. And so I don't want to undercut anybody who is making or working on it. Because it was leaked very early. So, out of respect for them, I'm not going to give any information on that. Just to be as open as possible about it. But yeah, I already have it. I already know what it looks like. But there's some parts of it that looks like it's not working correctly, or at least in certain ways. I'm not going to say any more than that, but yeah. So it's obviously something that's in progress, and I don't think it should be discussed. Or at least the details should be discussed. Yeah, I did get all this stuff, but in the back of my mind, for me, it was basically a sneak peek for myself. I kind of knew in the back of my head I wasn't going to share any information on that. You know, I don't want to make it harder on the people that are already working on it to start giving out information on things like that. You know, it's not really my place. It's not something I'm going to do. You know. You know, because if I wanted to, I could have shared it to anybody anonymously or anything like that, but I think that would have been kind of scummy, so I didn't. It's just the right thing to do. Oh, you don't see the difference for what? Keep snapping. Does it say May or does it say June? It may be a typo. It could be two different dates that they might have put on the wrong thing, so I'd double check that. Because I thought it said like June 19th or something like that. I could be wrong. I would just double check that. Let me see here. Keith Snapping says, no, I already saw that. XBD says, just curious, do you pay attention to the Absolute Comics? So there was a guy at work that I knew that loved the Absolute Comics, and he would kind of give me tabs to it. But now he's at a different location, so to say. But yeah, he would keep me up to date with the different characters and what they look like, and then I kind of got into a little more. I don't know the entire storyline. I haven't gotten that deep into it, but I at least know like how most of the characters look. But yeah, and I read like a little bit of like the interactions between like Batman and Bane for the most part. And the head style from the time capsule did look familiar when I saw that, the Batbane. So, but yeah, but that was kind of like a dream state that Alfred had, where he had a dream that that's what Bane was going to do to Batman. So it's not an actual character that like existed, so to say. Maybe they will have like an alternate version of the alternate Absolute universe where it actually did happen or something like that, right? But I've got some knowledge, but when it comes down to like the very specific details of everything, I'll probably be pretty negligible in those details. Okay, so it says 6:30, but in game it says 6 days. If you have the Discord, I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you're in the Discord and you see that there's maybe information that's not correct, that's that's in there, I would probably you could either tag the mods. I would tag the mods and let them know that it's incorrect and provide like a screenshot or something, and they'll push it to the right people. Because if the article, I usually go by the article. If the article says that it's in June, then I would say it's in June. So it's probably just an oversight in the game, and I would just go ahead and make sure that gets pushed to the right people so they can fix that. But I doubt that it's been changed to where only 6 days. But it's good to be on the safe side, and it's good to make sure that the right people know so that they can fix it quick. Because I'm pretty sure it's just an oversight. So yeah, the mods in the Discord, they are your resource. If you want to get something to the devs quick, you can always go ahead and tag them. I wouldn't tag Volterra. I wouldn't really tag Volterra because even though I do, it's usually if she responds to me directly or she's like I know she's currently like on the Discord at that moment typing or something, because I know they do keep her very busy. So I wouldn't exactly have her to be the first person to tag. I would do the moderators because there's always at least one that are watching the Discord most of the time, right? So that's who I would go to about that, and then they'll pass it along. I mean, it could be as simple. Hey, could you guys double check the date for this one thing? It says this, but then it says this in game. It could be as simple as that, and then they'll take a look at it and they'll see which one was wrong or which one was right. I mean, that's a lot of the time. A lot of the time, that's what I'll do. So I'm just basically telling you what I would do. So. I hate this boss with the constant charging. It's so much breaking out too that you have to do. And you get knocked around so much that it's like, yeah, that rage crash may not happen, you know? Or that rage cancel. It's just an annoying boss. Yeah, there's this channel I'll watch sometimes. I don't know if he's called Comic Historian or something like that. It's one of those big comic book channels where they'll go through like the newer issues. If it's something that catches my eye, I'll watch their videos. I may be getting the channel name wrong, but it's a very big channel. They do a lot of good work. Them, and then I'll also look at like I think it's like Emergency Awesome or something like that. He covers like a lot of the like comic book stuff, maybe new shows. He was covering the Invincible stuff, so I'd listen to him because he would have kind of like an overview the day after for a lot of the Invincible stuff, and so I'd watch it that morning and then I'd listen to what he had to say later on because I just liked his commentary. And then now he's doing The Boys. So he's been doing The Boys along with it as well. So now we've only got two episodes left of The Boys. So tomorrow morning I'll be watching season 5, episode 7 of The Boys. So that'll be very interesting to see what happens with that. XBD says, when they eventually give us an actual Doctor Doom for MCU, what actor do you think should play him? Because Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom should only be, from what I heard, temporarily. I don't know. They made it so, unless I'm hearing things wrong, they cast him for it because they wanted him to be Doctor Doom. I didn't hear anything about him being temporary or something like that. I thought he was there to straight up just play Doctor Doom until his contract was up for, I don't know, I figured a couple years, and then, then if they wanted to do a reboot, then they could do a reboot. That's kind of what I took from it. Alucard Tepe says, how much money do you think it'd take to buy the stabilizers for the Super Rebellious jacket from Booster Gold? Buy the stabilizers for Super Rebellious from Booster Gold. Booster Gold doesn't sell that jacket for stabilizers. Are they up? No, they're not up. No, okay. I went to the wrong area. Old man brain, give me a sec. I was trying to go over to... Chemo. I don't think any of them are up right now. I was trying to go to Chemo. Big Bang Memorial Park. Alright, this is where I was trying to go. Sorry, I'm reading chat and going to the wrong area. Yeah, you're thinking of Quarks. You could buy things off of him with Quarks, not with stabilizers. Stabilizers can give you Quarks over time. But I think, how many Quarks does it ask for his jacket? It's like 5,000 something, right? I think it's like 5,000 Quarks. I don't know, if you opened up like, I don't know, 100 or 200 time capsules without picking anything else but Quarks, maybe you could get it. So that's definitely something you want to work over time. But that's not an exact, that's me kind of guessing from what I've like done over time. So, but yeah. Yeah. I know that you can get Quarks in other ways. You can get Quarks with like source marks from like the time and space vendor from Dr. Fate. So you can do it that way as well, or you can get Quarks from the time and space vendor. I think that also make cost source marks. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm just thinking out loud over here. Yeah, usually the big ticket items are like 5,000 Quarks. They take a little bit. Yeah, it's not an exact, but it does take a little bit. You can also buy it off the broker, but I think it's pretty expensive. You know, players are going to charge you for what it's worth to, you know, get the collections and whatnot, right? Alright, is anybody up right now? Burger, okay, so they're over there with, let's see, it's gonna be Mammoth and, alright, let's see, Burgerful. Yeah, I don't care for this bounty, but we'll try it. Mammoth does all that charging stuff. And he hits like a truck, but it's just because he just charges a lot. Razor definitely helps out. I mean, 5 minutes is more than enough time. Yeah, Mammoth is the one you want to take out first. The other one just kind of messes around with you and like stuns you. Which is perfect for someone like Mammoth, because he just needs them to stun you for a little bit so he can mess you up quick. It's kind of like Terra and Merc when they're together for the general bounties. They're like perfect for each other. Alright. It's like a few $100 mil off the broker, not gonna lie. Yeah, it's probably cheaper that way if you actually have the game cash for it. I know a couple $100 million is like a ton for other players. You know. So I get it. Somebody says, they said, well, thank you so much, love your content. Lewis says, will you ever switch from Rage? If they really massacre Rage, maybe. But I've been through a lot of changes with Rage, and none of them have really deterred me. Rage has gotten better over the years. I mean, it was really OP at the start, but they definitely nerfed some of that, and then they did improve it over time. I think Rage has a lot going for it as a power, but I think it's literally one of the tanks that has kept people playing tank. And I feel like if they nerfed it a lot, then you'd see a drastic amount of tanks just pretty much leave the game or not play tank. I think overall, Rage is a high-risk, high-reward power set, and I think to diminish those rewards would make the risk not acceptable. Why would people run a risk of running Rage if the reward was not good enough? It's as simple as that. So I think the devs would be shooting themselves in the foot if they nerfed Rage. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Yeah, I get that, Alucard. But that's how I kind of feel about, like Rage and tanking and all that. Each thing has their own very specific reason why it runs well. It's got its own specific caveats and special abilities that make it better than maybe another power set, but then the other power set also has something that makes them worthwhile over, my power set, right? So that's how I see it. Everything's got its own special thing that makes it better than another power set, and they all, kind of overlap. I don't think you should be trying to make every power set like water. Water is special for what it is, but if you go ahead and you make every power set like that, then you're going to have yourself a problem where it's literally different, different animations, same power set. You don't want that. Yeah, I can see that being the case, but just because it is doesn't mean you have to make it that way. That's kind of just cornering yourself into a box just because you think you need to be there, and it doesn't mean that you have to be there. Because not everybody runs the same loadout. Not everybody runs the same everything, so just because, oh, well, that's just how it is, well, that doesn't mean that it has to be that way. It's just because you're being told that way doesn't mean it actually has to be that way. It's as simple as that. Yeah, battle tanks are the freaking goat, man. It's as simple as that. You could just do this stuff solo. It's amazing. That's why I do it, man. It's fun. It's amazing. You don't need a group to do it. I can't tell you the last time I've run a raid with a full group. I just run that stuff solo. I run this stuff solo and call it a day. Do I have any bottle DC? That's always the one that hides from me, the bottle DC. You always gotta scroll on tier 6 to make sure it doesn't, you know, it's not hiding. So the Superman one, I can do that one. The Lex one with like the little bots, it's like most of the time when I come over here, it's either like about to end or, you know, it's like that or it's about to end. It's usually it's about to end or it's not up. So I usually don't bother with that one, to be honest. Like I'll come over here, Tumblr Colony. See, like it's not even up. So disappointing. I wish that they just had that kind of going on 24/7 for the most part. Because it just sucks. It's like a 20-minute window, and I'm not gonna, you know, like I don't want to wait around for that. Let's do this. Yeah, you can solo stuff. You can solo stuff with Earth. You can solo it with Rage. My one battle tank. I have two other battle tank characters. I have an Atomic and an Earth. So you 100% can do that with both of those. It's not just Rage. You can do it with other tanks. Like I have those, but I just enjoy Rage the most. I'm a big like Lantern fan, and so it's like, you know, I just don't have the same buy-in as Atomic or Earth when it comes to that, because I'm a like look at the orbital here, Red Lantern. Like I'm just big about like Dark Side, like Apocalypse, and Red Lantern, you know, Lantern stuff. I just enjoy that. That's why I was, to be honest, I was very disappointed that it was Frozen Mogo and not like a rage-filled Mogo. I wanted it to be like a plasma-ridden Mogo. I wanted it to look like Yzmalt in the comics. That's what I wanted it to look like, and it didn't look like that. I was kind of I was like, Frozen Mogo, like what? Like what? So I wanted it to be just like plasma pools all over the place. That's what I wanted to see, and just a giant Red Lantern battery just in this, you know, kind of like crash landed in the center of the map. That's what I would have wanted to see. So I don't know. That's kind of just a hardcore Red Lantern in me that wanted to actually see that. Like, I thought that was going to be, like, the DLC for the Red Lanterns. You know, or the chapter for the Red Lanterns. I mean, it kind of was, but, you know, wanted to see a little more Yzmalt represented on the surface of Mogo. Because the Sorrow Lanterns got their whole grayed out Mogo. I wanted the Red Lanterns to have their red Mogo. No, I wouldn't say it takes so much time and work for the arts, at least in my situation, because I have a lot of them wolf packed over. So those characters can just immediately have those artifacts right from the spot. Just from the start. He says, I feel you, I was just using Earth because my tank is Kryptonian. Yeah. But that's basically why. I just like the power set. I've liked Rage and been Rage for probably 9 years at this point. So, you know, I've been Rage for quite a while. Look at him taking the L from a lamppost. He's like, that's not gonna work twice. Yeah, so I got wolf packs for a lot of the battle tank artifacts so that I can immediately go in and just make a battle tank character if I wanted to. For me, battle tanks are one-man armies, and they should be treated as such. It's like, hey, you want to solo everything? You want to be able to do, you know, you want to do the damage of a DPS, but have the durability or half the durability of a full tank? Yeah, then do this. Be this build. I mean, I was battle tank before battle tank was actually a thing, or they made it, you know, before they started making artifacts and stuff to benefit battle tanks. It's just that you're just so much stronger now with these. Yeah. So tanks are where it's at. And I feel like before you become a battle tank, you should know how your power works already. You should be a really good tank, just a regular full tank. So I see these people and they're like, "Oh, you know, battle tanking is just not as good," and blah blah blah. Yes, it's not. You're not going to be able to run it in like the highest of elite content for like raids and stuff, or at least the old raids that are harder. But the thing is I see people, they try to become a battle tank before they just know how to tank or know that power set and how it tanks. And to me, that's like trying to run before you walk, or trying to run before you can even get up. You know, it's just I feel like they should become a really good full tank with that power set before they try to become a battle tank with that power set. And I feel like they'll have a much more positive experience because they'll actually know what they're doing. Yeah, so I tell people, I'm like, hey, don't try to battle tank until you actually know how to tank and how to tank with that certain power set, and then you can go ahead and, you know, decide, hey, you know, because it came to a point for me, I don't know, this may be different for other people, but it came to a point for me where, I don't know, I was too strong in content and I was getting really bored. I was too strong in content, getting really bored because I'd full tank and I'd do the pull, do the whatever, rinse and repeat. I'd do all that and it wouldn't be exciting because I'd be too strong. I was in no death of dying, nothing like that. And then, oh, okay, you know, and I was thinking to myself, I could probably battle tank or do whatever to where I could do more damage, and I could probably do more damage, contribute, maybe not do as much as a DPS. I could probably do that. And at the same time, you know, then I'll have a little bit of an excitement with this, you know? So I think maybe when the difficulty went down, you know, for the game, it allowed, like, it kind of opened up the idea of maybe I can, like, you know, speed this up and battle tank, you know what I mean? So that's how I kind of thought of it. It was kind of just boring for me. So I wanted to have something that would engage me a little more. I'm just switching the thing here and hitting the wrong power every single time trying to get it. There you go. I was trying to do my White Lantern blast so he would not, so he'd get off that other person, that I'd override his aggro. Like my elite mod for my group breakout, Ire, I get 2 heals off of that. I get 2 massive heals off of that. So every time I clip all 3 or 4 of those powers together, I'm getting a whole bunch of healing off that. Let me drop my supercharge. I mean, my supply drop for a little more damage boost. There you go, he's done. He is done and down for the count. Let's see, are they up currently for the I don't know if it's up or not. The escort thing kind of going on. Escort mission. Is it up? No. Oh, it's on the move right now. It just came up. Okay. Alright. Alright. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Shield is down. Look at that. It took like half of its health away, the freaking Razor artifact. Music Mechanic says, hello, Iconic, how are you? Also, I agreed with you on what you're saying here. It's frustrating when I was healing Elite and had people doing that, let alone tanking with low arts. Yeah, that's the major. So what I tell people, it's like, people are like, oh, I hate battle tanking. I hate people that battle tank. I'm like, no, you don't hate battle tanking. You hate people who are inexperienced at tanking that are trying to battle tank. I'm like, that's what you don't like. That's what you don't want. I'm like, I get it. That's the only thing. It's like everybody's trying to battle this, battle that. I feel like those people probably don't need to be doing that. They should have no business of doing that if they don't even know how to do the correct version, the full version of their support, anyway. So, like, healers shouldn't be battle healing if they haven't healed before or aren't experienced enough, from healing, just full healing already. Like, there's things that you gotta know, you gotta be a little self-aware when it comes to things like that. And I feel like people just don't have that self-awareness. They think, oh, this is cool. I'm going to be OP as a battle tank. I'm going to get these arts. I'm going to be OP. And meanwhile, the healer's getting, like, has the aggro from the boss. And they're pissed. And they're trying to heal everybody. And, like, I get it. It's or they're getting hit from behind by the ads that are coming in because the tank hasn't pulled them yet, or hasn't even used a power in their vicinity to grab that aggro. Because in tank roll, all you have to do is use powers in your tank roll, and you'll aggro things to you. Like, you're like a magnet when you use abilities. So even if I don't necessarily have a pull on, I'll go in your area, like slap one of the ads down, use a power, and they'll all jump on me. Like, that's how it works. And so it's just about, being quick and knowing your role. And you just often get people that, they're new to the game, and and they're trying to do something that's, I think it's more on like an expert level. You gotta know what you're doing. And I feel like battle tanking's more on like a expert level. You kind of got to know how to do that. And yeah, and you're gonna have people that are going to try to do that, and it makes no sense for them to be doing that if they don't know their role. So it's like, no, you don't hate battle tanking. You hate inexperienced battle tanking. That's what you hate, and I get it. It's hard on the people that are actually just trying to run the content and do their thing, and now they're having to work harder to adjust for that. Well, yeah. Well, that also comes with the inexperience. They probably don't know which abilities do the most damage, and they're not thinking about survivability because they probably don't even know how the survivability works. They don't know what they're supposed to use to keep themselves alive. They don't know what ability gives them the most heals. Things of that nature. They don't know what that is, so they don't know what's going to keep them alive. They don't even know where their damage is coming from. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, they just don't understand those sort of things. And a lot of the stuff that does the most damage is going to be like iconic abilities and things like that. So, so they don't have those items as well. So they're probably working, with stuff that they think that, they think does a lot of damage, and it just doesn't. You know, so, and they're probably not using the right artifacts either. So, you know, unless they're running Red Tornado, you know, they're not getting that much healing. And the thing with Red Tornado is the more damage you do, the more healing you get. So if you're not doing much damage, well then you're not doing much healing. Because it only does 15% of your overall damage. So you have to be hitting like a truck to get mad damage, to be getting healing, like crazy healing from Red Tornado. I mean, Red Tornado gives you a 25% might buff though. But 15% is still enough healing, but you can't be hitting for weak numbers and then wondering why you're not surviving. You know? That's how I see it. And that's basically how the how it works, you know. So, yeah, it's just, you know, it's just the same thing basically. Oh, they already destroyed the convoy. Ah, and I forgot to do the mission on it for the first time. Now I'm kicking myself for it. Okay, that's fine. Well, I'll probably double back for that off stream. I don't want to sit in the same phase. I mean, in the same map for another 5 to 10 minutes. I'll probably circle back. Maybe I'll do it at like the end of the stream, something like that. I don't know. I don't mind mopping it up later. But yeah. Let's see. Kaznia. Yeah, it's just people not understanding the power set. I feel like you need to have intimate knowledge about how a power set works to be able to pull off battle tanking. You know, some are easier than others, right? Like Earth is pretty easy for the most part. You know, it just depends on which version you're doing. Aftershock tanking or pet tanking, right? That'll largely determine how much damage you do and what artifacts you need to run. Where did he? Oh, there he is. I was like, man, where did that guy go? Let's see. Is the Battle of the Damned up? Or is this, yeah, that's gonna be like the, that's gonna be like the tumblers. That's kind of like a 50-50 whether it's up for me or not. I think it runs a little more than the tumblers. So, Neuron it is. There's so many instances where either back in the day it was either I don't know, back in the day I could mean from a couple years ago to just, you know, like a year ago, but as a on my healer, there would definitely be times where it was, you know, whether I was DPS or um, DPS or healer, you just have either, you know, these tanks that were really bad, or, you know, it's DPS and like the healer was really bad, or they were trying to do something different. Um, like I knew I was tanking on one character, and there was a healer that was trying to run lasso, like run the Nemesis lasso, and they were just absolutely just destroying me because I was going ahead and I was full tank. I think it was like Blackest Night or something like that. We were running the elite version of that, and they were running Nemesis lasso. So that whole time they weren't using heals, and they would just hold the Nemesis lasso trying to get like that high damage. And I was like, what are we doing? You know, like I get why they were using it, but you don't use it on a healer. I looked at that, I was like, what's going on? So, yeah, I wasn't about that. I was like, you know, like, come on. Like, you're a healer, you shouldn't be using that. So, alright. Got Mogo over here. Music mechanic, why am I not surprised? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And we're just looking, I'm like, this is elite. So it was basically like I was running it without a healer. I mean, I was still able to do it, but it was like, I was like, what are we doing? Like, come on. Like, really? And I'm a villain. There's sometimes I'm not afraid to be the bad guy. You know, I still try to be nice about it, but at the same time, like, what are we doing? Like, come on. Like, you know that you're not supposed to run that as a healer. I get it. Like, I get it's a new shiny thing. Everybody wants to try it. You want to work it into your loadout, but at the same time, you can't be running that as a healer. Especially in like the top content. You know, at that time. So, I'm like, you know, come on. We'll have to do Orkillo in a sec, because it looks like somebody else already got to him before me.
He's always putting up the shield at the very end when he has like no health. Alright, let's go for a kilo now. He should be up. It says my inventory is full. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Alright, fix that. It says I'm probably just preaching to the choir now, though. There's time and place for everything. People seem to either forget or don't care. I don't even think it's people don't care. I think people just lack the awareness, the self-awareness. That, you know, they're only thinking about their build, and they think it sounds cool. They lack the awareness, the collective awareness on that. Yeah, there's plenty of things for like battle tanking I'll like try with League, and other things I won't try in like other full groups usually. But for the most part, if I do, it's like, oh, I'll give this a try. If it doesn't work out, then we wipe or whatever, then I'll just switch to full tank or whatnot. But I do like to try to test my limits to see how far I can go and what content I'm able to battle tank. It's just people realizing, like, hey, it's not just you in the group, it's everyone else, you know, that has to either benefit or suffers because of, like, why you run certain things, you know what I mean? It just depends on how detrimental or how beneficial they are to the group. Yeah, the funny thing is now is when I run with League or whatever, and I'm full tanking an instance or something, they'll be like, they're like, aren't you going to go battle tank? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, I probably could battle. Yeah, that's fine, yeah, I got it, and whatever. So that's the funny part is most of the time then they'll actually look at me and they'll be like, hey, oh, aren't you going to battle tank this? So I find it funny that it's the inverse of that, where you know, I don't know, I just find it ironic to most of what you see when it comes to things like that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. House of Legends again. Mournful Mogo. Got Mournful Mogo, and then we have Frozen Mogo. Man, I'll be excited to see what we get for the new open world. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just they're used to me running battle tank, and we really usually have no problems whatsoever for like with me battle tanking. So it's more or less they look for me to battle tank, or they're used to me running battle tank enough to where and you know they're used to me running battle tank, and having good experiences reinforces a certain behavior, right? So they're like obviously if somebody was doing poor at battle tanking, you're not going to ask them to battle tank the instance, right? Or you're not going to ask them why they're not, right? You would probably think to yourself, oh Lord, no, like no, don't give them the idea of battle tanking, you know? So I think I do a pretty good job in it to where we usually get it off without a hitch. Like I can comfortably tank the Love and War raid, and we were doing that with 4 people, 4 or 5 people. It was, but not to say that my league mate War wasn't putting in the work. He was also healing, but he's a good water heal, very good water heal. So he's really good. Like, could I battle tank it without him doing that? No, no. But he's a good water heal. He prides himself on being a really good water healer. Um, and I was able to put up astronomical numbers because he was there to support me as a healer. So it's not just me, it's a team effort, and he does a really good job. So when he tells me about anything water, I usually take it to heart and try to incorporate it into my builds, because he's just really smart about how he goes about it. I don't have a shield to pick that person up. Okay, there's no one around. All right, there you go. Let me pick him up. No, he's already gone. Okay. Yeah, I didn't. You saw me switch my loadout. I was like, shield's off cooldown. I can't pick him up. It says, right, I'm interested where the system and the new stuff is going to lead us, although I'll believe it when I see it. Held my breath before and regret it quickly. Yeah, I think in the past people have tried to read between the lines and add things that were not expressly, communicated. And, they're tacking on these things that they didn't say. And then they set themselves up for disappointment. And I'm not going to lie, I was one of those people, but, for the most part, I try to be very realistic unless it's like something like, when it comes to like, they were like, oh, new gods. I'm like, oh, maybe there'll be like an open world apocalypse or a New Genesis, like the city or whatever. And that didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, we got New Genesis, but, like things like that. But when it comes down to like new systems and stuff, I'm like, if they didn't say it, then I don't believe it. You know what I mean? That's where I generally look at things. I'm just like, yo, what did they say? What exactly did they say? Because they have, I think they like to be very, very sure about what they put out in their announcements. They like to make sure they use the right words. They're very sure about what they're trying to putting out so that they temper expectations and they keep true to what people read about something. So that's why if it's not in there, I would, obviously I wouldn't try to, put that out as some of the news there if it's not expressly put in as, as what they're actually doing. That's how I see it. I don't say, hey, this is what they're doing if it's not expressly put in the announcement. Because I'm one of those people in the mindset that wishful thinking is exactly that. It's wishful thinking. It's wishes and what you would like to see, but it doesn't often mirror reality. And we wish it because we know it's too good to be true. And instead of what actually is going to be the case. So I always try to temper my expectations with things like that. And it's not just with DC, just in general through life. I like to be very, you know, what exactly was said. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Yep. Yeah. So just go by what was carefully mentioned in the article, and then if it goes through, it goes through, and then you're like, okay, great. And people are like, oh, you know, when's the other shoe gonna drop? Like, so like, what's the news? Like, what can they make from this or whatever? I don't look at that. I look at it as, I feel like with this new scaling update, they're trying to make it more friendly for new players. They're trying to make old players happy with it. Because you got to understand, a lot of people left when the clamping happened, and I think they're trying to redo a lot of. They're trying to undo a lot of that damage that had happened. So I think this is a very big thing for them, and they're trying to walk that back. They're trying to erase some of that damage and maybe bring some players back with it, and probably keep some new players with it. You know, it doesn't make sense to be a game where you sell things that give stats and they give iconics and they give you this and they give you that, but then your stats get cut when you go into content. It's makes things kind of look pointless sometimes. So I think for them the incentive is a better environment for new and existing players, and try to undo some of the damage that had happened from there being a stat clamp that gave you no other options of running old content without a clamp. It just wasn't a very attractive offer to begin with, and it was kind of saddled upon us just because that's how things are, sort of. You know, it was kind of like, hey, this is going to happen because we want it to happen, not because players wanted it. And I think they're trying to reverse a lot of that, and maybe get some more people back and maybe retain some more new players. This is a guess. This isn't anything official. Like I said, I like to temper it with that idea. You know, it's not something that I know, but I think it's something that if I were in their position, those would probably be some of the reasons why I would do it. It's just kind of a no-brainer to me, at least, with what it looks like. But it's not something they've ever told me or anything. But it seems like that's probably why you would do it. You know, you try to look for the incentives. That sounds like a good enough incentive to me. Especially if you brought more OP items into the game. You know, you want people's stats to matter more. You want your customer to feel like their stats matter more. I just like how I just love how Constantine puts that thing right near the door, so that they can't move. They're just being juggled almost constantly back into the door. I need to jump to another phase, see if I can get this again. Well, oh, they're already up. Okay. Alright, I'm good here. I'm good here. Blue Lantern Outpost, yeah, we'll do that one. Oh, come on. Got an orbital there just camping on the person's dead body. I swear to God. That is so annoying. Those orbitals are just all up on him. They were just determined not for me to get them up. There we go. Rally point. I like how they put the rally point over here. The first couple days it just put you randomly down one of the trails. And I looked at that, I was like, what? And I'm like, alright. Green Lantern Outpost, okay. The last bounty for the day. Vice. Music Mechanic says, yes, I remember when the clamp was announced. It's definitely a 50-50 thing for some. Here, let me quickly get some damage in on him. Alright. Vice is down for the count. Let me read these here real quick. It's a 50-50 thing for some. That said, it is understandable why. One of the barriers I've seen was lack of groups for older feats. A counter argument I have against that is even if the system is reworked in a way to where end-tier players hit hard, you still don't want to have it to where they could potentially break an instance. For killing the boss too fast, I'm guilty of that. Yeah, I think it was a duo. I think it was a duo. It was the one where you have where you're in the city hall and you kill Archillo. And I was running a duo with somebody, and all I did was I did a quick fortified brick. This is before the revamp. I fortified brick, and then I tapped Archillo, and in the middle of the cutscene, it one-shotted Archillo, and it broke the instance. And the doors would not open. Yeah, so the energy shields were still there, and you couldn't get past it, so we had to redo the instance. Yeah, it was horrible. Yep. So, yeah, I get that. I get that. Well, I appreciate you all for hanging out with me today, getting some bounties done, and taking a look at me running through the new beta event. It definitely wasn't something that I expected to do today. Maybe the bounty part I did, but I decided to go ahead and add the beta testing part to it, because I was like, why not, you know? Like, that's what everybody's going to want to watch. They're going to want to see me do that. They're going to be doing it themselves. So it kind of just made sense to add it to it. So I was like, okay, I'll do that before I do the bounties. You know, and I don't mind doing the bounties because, you know, like you guys see, I don't mind answering questions and, you know, having you guys kind of pick my mind and see what I think about things or such and such. So I appreciate you all hanging out with me on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. And I will see you all in the next one. Laters. And remember, all is ours.